Crazy Bags. I'm an over-the-road truck driver here at Prime Inc. And one of the biggest things about being an over-the-road truck driver is your truck. Not only is it the most expensive and biggest tool in your toolbox to make a living, but it's also where you live. And there are some things that make life a little easier on the road. And a few months ago, I picked up a 2020 Peterbilt UltraLoft. And today I'm going to tell you the top 5 things that I don't like about it and the top 5 things I do like about it as far as being my home away from home. Let's start off with something I love about my new Pete. And although it doesn't affect the 2 things that are most important to me, which is 1, making a living, and 2, my quality of life for what I do, because that's difficult, the exterior look of the Pete has got to be one of my favorites. It is absolutely amazing. It looks like a beast driving down the highway. Now, I ordered mine special, so I was able to do some extra things to it. I was able to put some autism awareness on it. We have Blue the dinosaur and the autism pieces, along with my Crazy Bag's name on the side. And I was able to order the color I wanted. So this has definitely got to be one of my favorite things about my Pete. As we move into the inside, one of the things I do not like about the Pete is the passenger side cabinet design. So on the bottom is a refrigerator, which is not very large at all. And then you have a closet and a storage space up here that's open, okay? Which that's really nice to have, but I'm telling you, I would have rather they make the refrigerator bigger and the closet bigger and get rid of that storage area. If they could have made this refrigerator another foot taller, it would have been so much easier for us out here on the road to, eat properly and do things that we need to do to try to stay healthy. And I would have gladly sacrificed that up there to have this big enough to carry what I need to do to be a little healthier out here on the highway. So although the cabinet is something that that bugs me, the rest of the overall sleeper design is definitely one of my favorites about the Peterbilt. From the cabinet space here, where I can put a computer and whatnot, to the actual pull-out drawer you can use as a tray to eat your dinner on and store a computer underneath it when it's not in use, to the cabinet below it, to the small food cabinet up above it, to the panel display. You have to excuse my mess. To the panel display for the APU, the lights, the door locks. The door locks are such a big deal to me. I'm very much one of those guys that crawls into bed and has to go, oh crap, did I lock the door? I no longer have to worry about that. I just reach over and push a button and boom, I know my doors are locked. To my actual exterior door that opens up directly into my sleeper. So after I've done my grocery shopping, I can simply unlock the truck, open this door, and put my bags directly onto my bed. So I'm not having to get into the truck, put them on the bed, and get back out. That makes life a lot easier. So the overall design of the interior of the sleeper for the Peterbilt is definitely a big plus in my book. Definitely something I love about it, especially this half bunk. As you can see, I use storage up here. This half bunk allows the bunk to fold in half, the top bunk. The mattress folds in half, and then you have room to put your stuff, and then you just simply pull this to lower the half bunk. So the design of the bunk is definitely a favorite of mine, with the exception of the closet and refrigerator cabinet area. I think they could have done a better job than that. To help us out here is we're out here conquering the highway every day. We live in this thing on a daily basis, and I think it's pretty important that we live as comfortable as we can for what we do, and that can be difficult sometimes. And I had to add the size of the bottom bunk. This is the biggest bed in the industry. It's a a real full-size mattress. So I buy full-size sheets and they fit on there properly. There's not too much space. There's not a bunch I got to tuck under. It is a real full-size mattress, and it is a good one. So staying in the sleeper area for one of my dislikes, one of my pet peeves, has got to be these curtain separators. Up here where they're on the rail, there's no end cap. So when you're driving, these curtains have a tendency to fall down. All right? There's nothing on the end to prevent the little hooks or whatever in the track from going all the way out and just falling down as you're driving down the highway. So, hey, let's fix that, Peterbilt. Let's get something on the end down there. Let's put something down there, some kind of stopper to stop this from falling on the damn ground while I'm driving down the highway. So as we move into the driver's compartment, or the driver's area, the storage in the driver's area kind of sucks. Okay? There's not much. There's two little cabinets like that, one on each side. There's something like that above both the driver and the passenger, and then there's that little bitty one there. That is pretty much it. This would be for the CB radio. That's pretty much it as far as storage goes. And then also I don't like these cracks right here in the visors. All right, I would prefer they got rid of this and made these pullable, extensions on these. Because the sun does creep through these cracks sometimes when you're trying to drive into the sun. But on the same token, I love the accents in the driver's compartment. From the wood grain to the little computer pull-out shelf. It's actually got a glove box, but there's not very much room in it. To the leather seats that I ordered with this truck. All right, I got the upgraded leather seats, and they are absolutely amazing. They clean very easy. They don't hold smell. Y'all know what I'm talking about. The old trucker swamp ass. They don't hold smell to them. They clean very easy. They're very comfortable. They have a lot of different adjustments from, the back support to the bottom, the seat itself, to the armrest. It's all very adjustable for each person. And so that's something I love as far as just the interior itself. Love the wood grain. Love the seats I ordered. I'm not necessarily thrilled with the gauge setup and the radio. Some of the gauges are actually digital, like the voltmeter. I'm not totally thrilled about that, but it doesn't bother me either. So overall, the actual cab itself, I absolutely love it. One of the things that I really, really like about the Peterbilt is the Jake brake and how it works. So in my freight shaker, and that's what it was a freight shaker, it'd shake you half to death. You could use your Jake brake, you could set it for a hill descent, okay, and it would assist you on a hill descent. So you would simply just set it, set the cruise control where you wanted it, put the Jake brake in 2, and it would hold you at that speed. One thing about it, when you got to the bottom, it would continue to slow you down. You had to reach over and turn the Jake brake off. If you forgot about it, you might end up going too slow when you got to the bottom. With the Peterbilt, it's not like that. So the Peterbilt, once you set the cruise control, you can use the Jake brake at any time, not just on a hill descent, not just in number 2. I mean, you can use it any time with the cruise control on, and it will hold you at that speed. So like I can set my cruise control at my top mile per gallon in this truck is at 62 miles an hour because of the way the transmission is geared. So I set it at 62. I can set my Jake brake on 2, and I can just cruise down the highway. And if I'm going down even a smaller hill without me doing anything else, if I get up to about 66, it's going to kick in. It's going to slow me back down again, down to the 62. And then it's going to it's going to turn off on its own, and the truck will continue to go. where, you know, the Freightliner, you're constantly turning the Jake on and off. You're constantly having to make adjustments. And in the Peterbilt, you don't have to do that. And I absolutely love it. So there's only one more thing that I can think of that I don't like about the Peterbilt. And it's a big deal to me because I'm a smoker. I was a vapor, and I may go back to vaping once they figure out what the hell was going on. But anyways, so I'm a smoker, and, you know, when I'm parked and I come sit in my seat to smoke, because I don't smoke in my sleeper, I only smoke in the driver's seat or passenger seat with the windows down, I got to roll my window down. If my truck is off and the key is in the auxiliary power position, which would be all the way to the left, you can't roll the damn windows down. So I don't understand any vehicle I've ever owned in my life or drove, including trucks and cars and everything else. You could always have window control with the key in the auxiliary power position. For some reason, some engineer at Peterbilt decided that they didn't want to do that. So when you have the key all the way turned to the left, you do not have window control. You actually have to turn the key to the on position. You don't have to start it, but you have to turn the key to the on position to roll the windows down. When you do that, all of your lights light up for a split second. So all night long when I'm parked, if I want to have a cigarette, say I smoke 3 cigarettes in 5 hours when I'm parked. Every time I come up here and turn the key, all my lights light up in my parking spot, and then I can roll the window down. So Peterbilt, fix that shit, all right? Give us window control with the key in the auxiliary power position. Thank you. All right, and so I have to say, the thing I love most about my Peterbilt, and it does 2 things. This thing I love most affects me in both the things that are important to me, which is making money and living as comfortably as I can as a truck driver, okay? Please understand I'm saying as a truck driver, because it'd be a lot more comfortable to be at home. But for my profession, I want to be as comfortable as I am. And the Peterbilt's got that with the ride. This is the smoothest riding truck that I have ever driven. And for those of you that are wondering, before you start shouting, yes, I have driven a Volvo. This truck outdoes it, in my opinion. This 2020 UltraLoft, the ride is better than the Volvo I drove. It is very smooth. I don't have shit shaking around falling off my shelves when I'm driving down the highway. Overall ride on this thing is superior to any other truck that I personally have driven. That's my opinion. The shocks on it, or the suspension, let's just go with the whole suspension. So the whole suspension system on it is just better overall. One thing I love is it still has leaf springs. The 19 Freightliner I had did not have leaf springs. Every time you hit a bump, it felt like you were getting tossed in the air because there was nothing there to absorb the bump. It's just one solid steel, metal arm. And with leaf springs, it has some give, it has some bend. So when you go over the bumps, you get a little give, all right? You get a little bend. The truck absorbs some of it. They let the suspension absorb some of it, all right? Let me put it this way. It was so bad in my Freightliner that my camshafts had to be welded twice, all right? The roads in America suck. It was so bad, the Freightliner with that leaf arm and spring arm or whatever, instead of leaf springs, it kept cracking because there's nothing to absorb the bumps. With the Peterbilt, I'm not having that issue. It's absorbing the bumps. It's a very smooth ride. It's a much more comfortable ride. And if you're out on this highway and you're driving teams at all, or you're training and sleeping while student's driving at the end of his training, this is the truck you need. All right, this is it right here for sleeping while the truck is in motion, because Freightliner has fallen behind the times. They've actually went backwards as far as the ride of their vehicles. And this one here, it just takes it in stride. It's like riding on a magic carpet going down the highway. And I'll never, I think, be able to beat that. That will always be the top thing that I'm going to love about my Pete, is a ride when I'm going down the highway. That makes it better for me. That makes the day feel not as long. I'm not nearly as beat up, tired, and sore at the end of a 600-mile day as I was in my Freightliner, and all that is very important to my quality of life. So it definitely affects two things. It affects my ability to make money because the truck isn't busting camshafts and everything else. And number two, it makes me feel better at the end of my day. I'm not as beat down, wore out, and y'all know what I'm talking about after a 600-mile day to the roads in Michigan and Ohio. You know what I mean? It's bad. It's bad. And this truck definitely makes a big difference as far as that goes. All right, guys, that's some things I like and dislike about my Peterbilt. So if any of y'all are curious about the Peterbilt, I got 47,000 miles on it. So I have driven it for a minute or two. So I have put almost 47,917. I wanted to wait until I got some time in before I did any kind of video about my Pete. And now I've done that with that mileage, and I've been able to figure some things out. All right, y'all take care out there. Be safe. Make good choices as always. And I'll see you somewhere down the highway, folks.